If you're new to the channel, you probably don't realize why I'm so bad at filming stuff. It's all the gear, no idea. Let's get this unboxed and see exactly what you get for nearly 3,000 sodding pounds. So this is the Apple Pencil Pro that's meant to be the make you jizz yourself or have an accident in your pants. This is the iPad Pro 13-inch, and this is the Apple keyboard that's, Jesus, look at that, 349 quid. I can't believe I got mugged into paying that. First and foremost, let's have a look at this. Now, this isn't just going to be an unboxing video. I am actually going to, what do you call it? Have a play around with it and finish off with what I think of it. Also, why I bought it. But this part here is just the unboxing, so I'll shoot this at the office, do the rest at my house once I've used this thing. So let's have a look. What do you get here? Ooh. I mean, the thing I cannot get over is just how sodding thin this thing is. And that is a fingerprint magnet if ever I saw one. Now, in the UK, I don't know about the rest of Europe, but in the UK, you get the full 9 inches. Sorry, 13 inches in fact. They've gone full 13 inches. And when I say the full 13 inches, what I mean is you do not get a charging brick. I mean, how bad is that? How can you pay this much money for this device and all you get is a sticker? I mean, insane, absolutely insane. But I suppose the question would be, why did I buy the iPad Pro, whatever you want to call it? Well, it's really simple actually. I wanted a 13-inch for a while. Actually, I've always wanted 13 inches since I was about 5 years old and I looked down the first time. But more importantly, I wanted a 13-inch because what I wanted here was to create more content, and doing that requires a wider screen. The problem with the one I've got at the moment is it's an 11-inch, and although it is lightning fast and it is the M1, I think 3 years in it was not the worst time to do a swap over. So let's see what this sounds like. Sounds about the same. See what you get for 349 quid. Oh. Now this apparently is different by, what, probably a millimeter or something like that. So it's going to give you the impression that you've justifiably wasted a load of money on this, because the other one wouldn't fit this, the old one. So they make everything just slightly different. I'm sure they're going to make USB-C A or some new thing that only Apple products work with. But for now, that is going to be my work setup. Now, will I be able to replace my MacBook Pro and just use this? I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to only use this, because I mean, it's good, but it isn't everything. And, oh, one last thing to unbox. Let's see what you get here. I mean, really, if they really put a pull tab on this thing? Oh, it's got paper on it. There you go. I don't think it goes on that way, Rashid. I think it goes on that way. So you're meant to have Pro written towards you or something. Does it? No, it just says it at the top. So you can look really tossy and go, oh, look at me. I've got Pencil Pro on my pen. But I do like the additional features this thing's got with the pinch. And yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to using this on the daily. I will use my MacBook Pro a lot less. In fairness, now that I've unboxed this, it's quite heavy, I mean, with the keyboard on it. And it's not going to be a one-handed device unless you take the cover off. And the minute you take the keyboard off and you're just holding this thing like a single device, I mean, once you get the keyboard off and holding this thing in your hand, it is just ridiculous how extremely light it is. I don't know if this is touch to focus on this camera, by the way. I've just gone back to using the S5 IIX because I was so sick of the Leica SL2S for video. And at least with this, I've got an articulating screen and I can see what I'm filming. But this is, yeah, I mean, it's super, super light. I'm really excited about using this. I cannot believe they didn't give you a charging brick with this, but they do in the United States. This is the box, and you get a black cable. It's not going to be USB-C, Thunderbolt or anything. It's just going to be the standard cable. So in fact, I'll leave that in there, and if I do sell this in 3 years, someone will get a brand new experience. And the same goes for the keyboard as well. I'll do the same. I'll put all the paperwork back in there and make sure that when someone buys this from me in 3 years' time, it'll be like new. I don't tend to change my iPads that often. Oh, look at that. That's something I hadn't noticed. That's sort of like metal at the end, whereas the folding mechanism on the original one that I've got is a lot more, I don't know, it's plasticky. It's got USB-C cable input there, and that's about it. Right, I gotta go and destroy my friend Rob Crouch at Touch Tennis. So that'll be all for now. Now what I'm gonna do is move back to my house studio and film the rest of it in terms of my experience of using it and testing speeds. I'm gonna edit some of this video and see how fast it exports on my M1 versus this. I'm not gonna do a ridiculous test, not because other creators have already done it, but because I'll fuck it up so badly that it won't be worth your while watching it. Right, back to the studio. I've always wanted to say that. So I've had the iPad Pro M4 chip, 13-inch, for about a week now. And it took me 2 days just to transfer the stuff on my iPad 11-inch mini, or whatever, is it 11-inch M1 Pro, over to the iPad 13-inch. I wouldn't normally recommend going up. That's one thing I'll say, and I'll say this right at the beginning. I think buying the 13-inch was for a couple of reasons. I always wanted the 13-inch, but I thought it was huge in terms of weight. So when they came up with this super thin one, it made sense for me to buy it, only because it was so much lighter. I mean, it's 500 grams. It's like 2 mobile phones back to back. However, what I hadn't factored in is once you stick the new Magic Keyboard on with all the aluminium and the metal at the back, suddenly it starts to get back to carrying a MacBook around with you. Well, a Mac Air perhaps. It's quite heavy. It's not something light that you can carry around with you. One of the things with this was, it's the M1, it's fast, but I wanted something slightly bigger because I'm on planes all the time now, and watching content be easier on a 13-inch. As you get to my age, your vision goes out the window. I didn't go for the textured glass, mind you, because I use this stuff on the front of my screen, which is like a matted paper. I think it's made by Paperlike or somebody like that. It was Patrick Rambles who put me onto it. Not that I'm friends with him or anything. He posted it in one of his videos. He's actually really good. And he said, you know, use this stuff because when you've got a pencil in your hand and you're writing with this paper-like surface on it, really does make it so much easier to write on. It's, I don't know, it's not exactly like paper, but it is a lot more tactile. There's some feel to it. You get some not grating, I wouldn't say grating. You get a feeling like you've got a little bit of resistance between the pen and the pad. Whereas on this one here, which is the iPad, the new iPad, I haven't put that glass on it yet. So I do intend to, but for now, let's see what this Apple Magic Pencil is like. Okay, it's still in red like the last one was, because this is literally just transferred all of the data. So let's get rid of that, and let's go to black, and go all the gear. No idea. I assure you my handwriting is terrible, but not this bad. It's not easy to write on. Let's move this out of the way. What do you mean, what's new for Apple Pencil? I don't have a new Apple Pencil for this one. So a lot of the time, he had this stand, which I use, and it's got that clicking sound. Again, another thing that Patrick Rambles put me onto. And this is the Lulu Look iPad stand. All of the items that I've bought for my iPad 11-inch, I'm going to have to rebuy for my iPad 13-inch. However, some of the benefits are going to outweigh the 11-inch. As I said, so much more real estate. I do a lot of my editing on LumaFusion, and it's great to have a full screen in front of you like this. I do a lot of watching content, as I said, TV shows, movies, when I'm on a plane. This is my primary device. And I do feel like, no, it's never going to replace a laptop. Yes, it can do 75% of what you need to do on your laptop. Where it falls down for me, and it'll probably be the same for everyone that's complained about this, is the Files app is terrible. Transfer speeds of files to this, terrible. Having a dongle attached to it, terrible.
So those are your normal things. Like, for example, having the MacBook Pro that I've got, so much simpler. Look, I can just stick my SD card in there and read directly from it, and it's got a battery that lasts for days, absolutely days. So much better than the iPad experience I've had, certainly with the 11-inch. I'm hoping this one's going to be equally good, but I've had the screen on since I started recording this, and it's gone from 84 to 82% already. I'm not sure how well that bodes for this thing. But speed-wise, I mean, if I put the two of them side by side here like this, I don't honestly think you can tell much difference between the two. Because at the moment, as you can see, they're both set up the same. There. I don't really see a great deal of difference between the two. This screen, maybe because I'm used to this paper-like surface on top of it, it's different. But this one does feel like tacky, almost a little clammy. It's going to be an absolute fingerprint magnet, so I'm going to wait and see. I'll wait to tell you whether or not this is going to be worth using long term, or whether the scratches are just going to drive me mad. I don't know much about the magnets. It attaches to the Apple keyboard, the new Apple keyboard, quite easily, and it does look much more like a laptop in this, but it's not a one-handed operation, really. You kind of have to be holding it. If it's on the table, one hand's got to be holding the keyboard down. And I'll show you here, for example. If you try and lift it, the magnets just hold it in place. It won't go anywhere. So you kind of need both hands to do that. And then you kind of do that. A laptop, I feel like you can just have it in your lap, and the weight of the screen's heavy enough for you to lift it open. I do absolutely love this keyboard though. I mean, it's such a joy to type on, and you struggle to get something better than this. You really would. Yeah, I mean, it's another level compared to the last keyboard, I gotta say. It really is. Function row across the top, reduce the brightness, things like that. Skip track, put it in sleep mode. Press that, enable dictation, just little things like that have made this a beast. I'm going to say what so many other creators have said though. This is the new Apple Pencil Pro, and it really doesn't take much to knock it off. It really doesn't. And I think that's a big, big mistake. I mean, yes, they've got Find My, so at least you'll be able to find it when you knock it off. But the problem I think we're going to have with this is, whenever you take it out of your bag, the pencil's always going to come off. Every time. Whenever you put it in your bag, the pencil will probably fall off, or either or both. You drop it in your bag, pencil's come off, let's put the pencil back on, take it out of the bag, falls out again. So I think there's a few problems with this, and I wouldn't even say they're the sort of thing they can fix with software. They can't make the magnets any stronger. I have a feeling they will make another pencil. Maybe one of those partners like ESR will make a little clip here that holds your pencil in place. I know there was something to do with the camera, but I don't really know what. So watch another YouTuber and see what they've got to say about how the camera is affected by the magnets in the pencil, and that's why they couldn't put stronger ones there or something like that. One thing I must say, I do a lot of Zoom calls on my iPad, and having the camera in the center now, on the front at the top of the display instead of at the side there where you're sort of looking off to an angle, is a really, really nice touch, and they should have done it years ago. I'm glad they've added that to the Pro editions. The iPad Pro 11-inch M1 is now going on sale. I think I'm going to move fully to this. I did wait a few days after transferring all of my data across to make sure that I'd be able to handle the bulk of this. And I think that, as I said, with the keyboard, it is quite heavy. But oddly enough, it's no heavier than this with the keyboard, and this is an 11-inch, which just goes to show how light, how unbelievably light the iPad itself is, because this keyboard weighs a lot more than the last keyboard did for the iPad 11. Would I recommend you go and buy it? Nah, save your money. Go and buy an iPad 13-inch second-hand M2, or M1 for that matter, unless you absolutely have to have a camera at the top, a Pencil Pro, textured glass, and ridiculoly high speeds, because I spec'd this out to the max. This is 2 terabytes, Wi-Fi and cellular. It's got the 10 core again, all the gear, no idea. I spec'd it to the max. I think the only thing I didn't do, as I said, is get the textured glass. Why? Because as I said, I'm going to put a paper covering on this, by Paper-like I think they're called, so I can write on this more freely and protect it from scratches. I'm not often in bright enough environments with an iPad where I would need to have textured glass. And watching some of the creators on YouTube who were showing videos of it, wasn't that different. So, you know, I think I'll leave it there as far as this video is concerned. But yeah, hope you learned absolutely bugger all from this video and you wasted 10 minutes of your life, because I did. I wasted 10 minutes of my life making this video. Actually, probably more, because I had to do the thing behind the green screen over there as well. And that was the shittest unboxing I've ever done. So if this has made you miserable and at the end of the video you're thinking, why the f did I watch this? Click the subscribe button and you can ask yourself that question weekly when I produce content about that I really shouldn't be buying, but have no ability to say no to. See you in the next one.